Forest Hills Board of Education regular board meeting. Ms. Cropper, may I get a roll call, please?
Mr. Bell?
Here.
Mrs. Jonas?
Here.
Dr. Simmons?
Here.
Dr. Strickler?
Here.
Mr. Bibb?
Here. We all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
1.4 safety briefing. There's an X in the bottom of the stairs and one at the top where everybody came in. I think everybody's been here before. May I get a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Bell?
Yes.
Dr. Strickler?
Yes.
Mrs. Jonas?
Yes.
Dr. Simmons?
Yes.
Mr. Bibb?
Yes. Item 3 minutes. May I get a motion to approve 3.1 through 3.6?
So moved.
Yeah, before we vote on the minutes, I'd like to move to revert the minutes.
Can we have a second
Can I get a
first?
second real quick?
Oh, yeah.
Second.
So I'll second.
All right.
Oh, I
She
thought you
motioned, I'll
seconded it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry, Dr. Simmons, go ahead.
Yeah, I had the October 15th minutes. There were revisions to the minutes that were sent out today, and I'd move to revert the minutes voted for to approval to the original minutes that were sent out.
Is it October 23rd you're referring
I-
to?
Thought it initially was October 23rd, but I think it was the October 15th minutes with the Future Think presentation.
So are you talking about the email that I had sent to
Yeah.
Elena? So there's 3 different adjustments on there.
Mm-hmm.
The ones for the 10:15 meeting was just to add about the survival ratio. Only 50% of kindergarten age children choose to attend Forest Hills. That was a key takeaway in our presentation from Future Think. And then just the line that says that students are not leaving Forest Hills for public school, birth rates are lower. I think it's a combination of many variables. So
Yeah,
that's
and-
what I was just, I mean, we've got 2 more kids on the transportation in lieu this month. So some kids are leaving for public school,
Private school.
private school, I'm sorry.
Yeah, to me, it seems like we're omitting important data there. The central thesis of the declining enrollment that was given to us by Future Think was declining birth rates in the district, statewide, and that was, the presenter was asked directly if there was evidence to suggest students were leaving for private schools, and the answer was no. So I think omitting that line is omitting important information that was part of the presentation, was directly asked of the speaker. So I'm fine if we want to
She said-
add.
I mean, she said that it's a combination of many variables while they're leaving, not just strictly because of birth rates being lower.
Okay, well, I move to revise the 10:15 minutes to add Sarah's edit about the survival ratios comment, but leave the initial comment about birth rates being lower.
I'm fine with leaving the comment about birth rates being lower. I object to the word choose in it. I mean, 50% of children who are born end up in Forest Hills. Some of them may leave the district. Some of them may leave the state with their family, with job moves and other. Some, yes, will choose other options for preschool and then may just choose to stay there through kindergarten. But I think the word choose is a little strong when you're talking about a 0-month-old.
And we don't
No,
do
but
exit interviews either, so we can't be
The whole-
100% accurate.
But the whole point of that part of, it was the 5th to last slide on there. It was showing year after year that group of, I think it was 5, it was the 50% year
Yeah.
after year after year.
Yes, 50% are coming in based on birth rate. I mean, we have no idea what happened between 0 and 5 in terms of
Those are the notes
choice
that I had.
and children's outcomes. So I think we can say about 50% are coming in, yes. To the second point, what we understood from the rest of that chart was 100% indicated students are staying, if not growing, and almost every number on here is between 99 and I'm looking at a high of 115. So she very much made the comment, students in Forest Hills, families in Forest Hills are happy in Forest Hills and staying in Forest Hills.
I
These
don't
numbers
deny that. I don't deny any of that.
clearly represent that. Okay.
I don't deny that when they're here, they stay, but she made that comment that it was 50% choose kindergarten at Forest Hills, the other half go elsewhere.
What's that, and that's the point, that's not what she said, 50% do attend Forest Hills. We don't know the reason why the other 50% don't, because there's a lot of things that happen. You got people who are 35, 38, 39 years old, they're moving in and out of the district.
Right. So we don't know where
it's-
they're going.
Right, like, I have no problem with the comment that 50% of, based on survival ratios, 50% of the kids go to Forest Hills.
Yes.
Yes.
But there's.
That's fine with me.
There's, because that's the factual statement. We've, as Bob said, it's not like we did interviews of people to figure out,
Sure.
like, the 5-year-old, like, hey,
Interview the 5-year-olds.
how
I
cool
mean,
would
it'd be
that be?
fun. But
Yeah.
Not enough Legos.
So then the motion then would be to add the verbiage based on the survival ratios, about 50% of
Just attend.
kindergarten-age children attend Forest Hill
Yeah.
schools.
Yep, that's
And
fine
then
with
we
me.
will keep the line, students are not leaving Forest Hills for private schools, birth rates are lower.
I mean, I would put
We
something
good on
in
that?
there about there's many variables, or if you don't want to remove that, but it's not just because birth rates are declining.
Any second on my motion?
I would second, yes.
Okay, I want to make sure that I have the changes correct. So, on the first one,
Order my pizza.
where it says, let's see, let me go back to the 10-15 minutes.
Yep.
Where Mrs. Jonas would like to add, based upon survival ratios, only about 50% of kindergarten-age children choose to attend Forest Hills.
We'll
I was
say
gonna say, they attend Forest Hills.
50%, about 50% attend
Attend
Forest
Forest
Hills.
Attend Forest Hills. Are we still saying, yeah, based upon survival ratios, we're starting with that, correct?
Yep, and that underlined comment to remove, we're leaving in, is my motion.
Okay, so 10-15, leave that. Okay,
I would, the only thing I would do, I know you made the motion, Jason, is on the underlying one, I just say, enrollment is declining due to a number of factors, including lower birth rates.
I'm fine with that.
I'm fine with that, yes.
I'm fine with that, too.
You got that, Elena?
yes.
Enrollment is declining for a number of factors, including birth rate.
I'm a slow writer.
Go back and watch the video.
Yeah.
See, Wendy, Atlanta doesn't take notes like I do during meetings.
I'm still impressed.
Got that.
I'm still impressed.
All right, and the third item that, on the 10-23 minutes,
Oh, no.
It was just, he was reading that version of it. That wasn't the original one. He was reading the proposal, the first proposal. That's all it was.
Right, so it wasn't, the BRIA was not currently in place. That was a
Okay.
proposed resolution to be more inclusive.
Right.
And just so everybody knows, it's just important for the minutes to reflect, you know, what actually happened, and going back through and reviewing them and making changes if needed be, I think is really important, just for the record.
Yeah, that's fine, I agree.
So Dr. Simmons read aloud the Berea City Resolution,
period.
period.
Okay,
I'm on board with that.
Yep.
all right. So to vote on whether the minutes can be amended with these changes, we have a motion by Dr. Simmons, a second by Dr. Strickler. So Dr. Simmons,
Yes.
Dr. Strickler,
Yes.
Mr. Bell,
Sure.
Mrs. Jonas,
And it's not, it's based on the changes that we all agreed to?
yes.
Okay,
She wrote
yes.
Mr. Bibb.
Yes.
Okay, that was a vote to amend the minutes. Now we need to go back and vote to approve the minutes. So,
I'll make a motion to approve the new minutes as
As
stated,
amended.
or as amended.
As
I'll
amended.
second.
Mrs. Jonas?
Yes.
Dr. Strickler?
Yes.
Mr. Bell?
Yes.
Dr. Simmons?
Yes.
Mr. Bibb?
Yes. All righty.
Thank you for entertaining that, guys.
Moving on.
Yes.
Sorry, I know, dang it.
We're on
Stealing
four,
it
yeah,
from me.
item 4, reports to the Board of Education, Forest Hills Teachers Association. Mr. Preston.
Well, good evening to each of our Board of Education members. As our teachers are gearing up for the push to the end of the second quarter, I have 3 updates from the Forest Hills Teachers Association highlighting our most current work. First, elected FHTA delegates within our organization continue active involvement in both local and state association representative assemblies in November and December. These meetings are held both locally and statewide, usually on a Saturday. They focus on internal structures, voting on constitution and bylaws amendments, and listening to keynote speakers or guest discussion panels. These gatherings provide valuable opportunities for us to engage in conversations about policy, professional issues, and topics that impact our educators. Our delegates' participation ensures that FHTA has both a strong voice in statewide discussions and remains connected to the work and advocacy happening across our region. Second, FHTA recently held its fall General Assembly, where members reviewed and ratified updates to our own local constitution and bylaws. The process began in December of 2024 and involved an internal audit to ensure legal compliance. We now are on a schedule for another round of the work in 5 years, notwithstanding a need to make amendments sooner. This reflects our commitment to fostering equitable support of our membership with integrity and transparency, using consistent communication and a strong pre-K-12 representation structure within our organization. Last, FHTA was pleased to attend and support the Denim and Diamonds event last weekend to benefit the Forest Hills Foundation for Education. The Foundation's ongoing contributions to innovation, student experiences, and classroom support are deeply appreciated, and we value the partnership between the Foundation and our Forest Hills educators. That concludes my report for November. Please, all of you, have a safe and enjoyable Thanksgiving holiday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Up next, Forest Hills Foundation for Education. Ms. Hale.
Good evening. Stacy Gillard could not be here tonight. Her sons are having their soccer awards night. So my name is Mana Hale. I am the communications director for the Forest Hills Foundation. And this slide is perfect to show you that we had our, as Mr. Preston mentioned, our Denim and Diamonds event this past Saturday. The next slide will show you some more details. Many of you were at this event. We thank you for your support and your fantastic dance moves on the dance floor. Over 300 people participated in various ways, either by attending, bidding on the more than 70 auction items, making donations, and or buying Bengals raffle tickets. Our total gross amount raised surpassed our goal. Over $147,000 were raised, surpassing our goal. We thank all of the volunteers without whom this enormous undertaking would not have been possible. I will not read every name, but they are listed there for you to appreciate as well. Thank you. This is all for the kids. And the next slide will tell you about something else where we are really proud of. Our Rooted in Hope and Strength fall campaign was also a great success. Over $14,000 were raised, and they were matched by the Hayden Family Foundation for a total of over $28,000 raised. This campaign raised money for Nagel's after-school clubs, which are especially critical for students during this important transition time in their lives. They find hope, belonging, and connection by joining the 23 different clubs at Nagel. The foundation has been supporting Nagel after-school clubs for nearly 15 years. This campaign also supported Sources of Strength, which is at the secondary level mental health programming. And we are so proud of the community, not just for the Denim and Diamond support, but also for supporting our fall campaign. Our next slide will talk about the $140,000 were just awarded in teacher grants, which I think you probably are aware of. Our next cycle of grants coming up in January are our student-led grants. These were formerly known as PTO community grants. We decided to rename them to make it a little more transparent as far as what our goal is, which is we want our students coming up with ideas, telling us what they need, coming up with brand new ideas none of us thought of. We are hoping to award $25,000 in student grants. On this slide, you will see an example of a student-led grant, which was 5 laptops for the Anderson newspaper. These students have a newspaper called the Raptor Report. If you're not aware, I hope you make yourselves aware. It's a pretty fantastic publication, and we are proud to support them. We also just awarded Lauren Olson, who is their teacher, with some cameras. That was a teacher grant. The cameras are also for the Raptor Report students. Our final slide is just in the spirit of Thanksgiving coming up. We leave you with this quote: "Gratitude makes sense of our past, brings peace for today, and creates a vision for tomorrow." This was written by Melody Beatty, and I thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question? Do we do any kind of community district news sharing the grants? Like teacher grants or stuff like that, that lists out everything? Do we do that?
I think there's usually posts on social media when you guys are handing this stuff out in classrooms.
But
Yeah.
is there like a district-wide news communication showing all the grants, so parents are, aware of all the teacher grants, student grants, everything like that? Is that something that, just in the spirit of transparency?
Yeah, what we did this year, if I may,
Yeah.
we provided each school principal with a list of the specific grants that school was awarded, including, those great photos from the Prize Patrol. Those are shared via their platforms, so their principal newsletters.
Okay.
We definitely want the specific communities that are benefiting from the grants knowing what's happening. This was something that we did this year specifically in the idea that we don't just say, we gave away this much money for 39 grants, and many of them were collaborative. We actually named them out. And that was something, it's 39 grants, so it's a lot. So we thought maybe going specifically school to school was the way to go. And I did hear back from a number of principals, including we also shared with the PTOs.
Okay.
They also send out newsletters. And I heard back that, and I saw from my own students' newsletters that they were shared.
Okay.
Because I agree with you that we need to do more than just say numbers and vague.
But I mean,
Mana, at the beginning of the year, when the Forest Hills Foundation was at each open house, we also had flyers specific to our elementary schools that showed I was there for Sherwood. I saw exactly how much Sherwood had gotten in grants and what the grants were. So you also have flyers specific to
Thank
every
you, Wendy.
building
We
that were
work
available.
really hard to create those impact flyers by school. Those are also available digitally. We have been doing a lot of targeted emails per school. This is a lot of work. These are 9 different emails, specific. This is not just general, we do general, but those specific emails will have links to those impact flyers, which absolutely itemize. So
no, I
it's
think
out
those are all
there,
good.
yeah.
I think just maybe a district-wide piece on our school's website would be good for maybe external community members.
Agreed.
Just to see what's going on. I think that might be a
I
good
can
idea.
share with
so
Josh easily.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Next, superintendent update, Mr. Hope.
While I'm talking.
Thank you. Mr. Bibb, members of the board, go ahead and roll my slides. Okay. Obviously, This is supposed to be a pretty big week up in Columbus. As a matter of fact, I'm heading back up tomorrow. I think I just got back. But I'm heading back up because of the legislature's trying to spend a lot of late nights before break. And I think they're trying to get on break this week. I think some things are in session and right now going on. The ones that we're watching, of course, right now is what's going to fall out with the House Bill 129. That's basically dealing with districts and certain type of levies that will now be calculated into the 20 mil floor, basically substitutes and emergency levies, which prior were outside of the 20 mil floor. Doesn't impact us as greatly because we're not on the 20 mil floor, but 400 and some schools are. So that's a lot out of 613, give or take. House Bill 309, another one allowing county budget commissions to reduce millage on certain voter-approved tax levies that could impact us. Okay, the one that this is kind of a standalone versus the one that went in through the budget bill that was passed. All of the, and I think I'll talk about this in another slide, but all of the school districts went down and testified before the county commissioners, and we had several people there, and Alana spoke, I spoke, Jason spoke, we had Natalie was there, she spoke, but other schools as well. I'm pleased to report that they passed on that, so at least for a year. So
Passed meaning decided not to do
decided not to-
anything.
decided not to do anything, yes. Yeah,
And
sorry. Let me rephrase that. Yeah, they decided not to reduce it, so that was good. That was, we're happy about that. 335, House Bill 335 is still there, looming. And so that deals with capping the inside millage with inflationary growth. Okay, those are the short versions of those. Those are the ones that really have some level of impact to us. There was another one, but we're, basically we're not on the 20 mil floor. So it just caps inflation, to some point versus just redoing it based on property values. So as I said, we also produced a joint statement that all the superintendents and treasurers in Hamilton County signed. Again, just trying to make sure people understand it. We're not against, property tax reform. It just needs to be done in the right way. Okay, I don't think sometimes people in Columbus understand the trickle effect and who that all impacts. You're not just talking about schools, but you're talking about fire, you're talking about police, you're talking about retirees, senior citizens, you're talking about children with disabilities. There's just a lot of pieces to this. So I think we just have to keep talking and making sure and try to educate as much as we can people in Columbus as well. Local control is still critical, what we're doing with tax incentives, et cetera. The bar has moved dramatically over the last decade or so in terms of where we get state support. Currently we're, 33 and change %. I mean, we're getting down towards the bottom of the 50 states in terms of state support. The average is 45% across this country. So we're considerably below that. So I think just an
Ours was?
awareness.
What'd you say ours was in Ohio?
We're around 33.8
33%?
or change,
Okay.
if I'm not mistaken. My memory serves me correct, but I know we're at 45 as the national average, and We used to be right about there, but not anymore. We've just, the burden has shifted on property taxes to the homeowners, away from businesses, et cetera. And so it's apparent. It becomes apparent then. Next slide. But that's, real quick, this is going to be a busy week. I'll have more. I hope I don't have a depressed drive back, and then I'll try to update you as much as we can on Friday. 5-year capital, we just had a facilities technology committee meeting on November 6th. I'm not going to say a bunch about it because I know Mr. Bibb and Dr. Simmons were there, so I'll let them kind of update you. But just so you know, we got some big things coming this year. I think after we get past this school year with our capital improvement plans, we'll be able to get more into preventative maintenance, which will not be nearly as pricey. We've been fortunate that interest dollars have also helped support our PI fund, and we'll ride that horse as long as we can. But we also realize that may be going down. So, but we certainly have the high dollar figures in it, and John may have more information on that as he goes through his presentation as well. Air handlers unit at Turpin and replacing the turf and track there, effectively at the end of life in all practical purposes. So districts, we got roof replacement, that's a total replacement. So that's I think that's the last full replacement, isn't it, John? It should be our last full one. We'll always have to tweak and patch pieces and stuff, but I mean, as far as the whole membrane, that's a big one, but so we should be in a good spot. Nagel, what's happened there is that is probably the most used natural grass field there is. And if you've walked on it, been around it, we need to do something about that. So I just, and we've been talking, Tiff, I know Tiffany will be in full agreement with it. So we've had some discussions. We've made sure that we kind of move things around. And we believe we can put all this in this year's updates. That means actually moving to an artificial turf as well. You just got to remember, you got 4 football teams in the fall on that. You got 4 lacrosse teams. You got 100+ kids in track and field, and they don't just stand on the track. Plus all of the other stuff. And so what's happened is there's no growing season. So, I mean, there's just no growing season. So it just makes some sense for us to do that. And besides that, it's going to help with phys ed and wellness programs there. You're talking about 1,200 kids annually in that site, in that building. That's the largest population that we have singularly in our district. So it's a bunch.
Are we doing that for fall of '26?
Yes.
Try and do it next summer.
Yes, John's going to talk about the bid process. We're working with Moats to, give us a little bit better deal because we're also doing Turpins. And so I think they're willing to work with us. Plus they're in our backyard.
Yeah.
So we've got a good relationship with them. And so he'll talk about state term pricing and stuff like that. So, so that's where we are with the 5-year capital plan. He'll go into more specifics if you have any questions. So next slide. Just ongoing strategic plan monitoring, priority 1.1. And in particular, I just threw out a couple of pieces trying to, students, we just got back one of the community surveys, in terms of how do you feel connected and welcome at school, and high percentage, almost 84%. Secondary is about a little over 80%. Always looking to try to get that higher. So just a couple of little high notes on that. Strategic plan, 1.2, the percentage of students in the Excel program. Again, that's a lot of our, that's growing quickly. I think it's almost doubled, actually, from 7.4% to 14% this year. So it's gaining some quick legs, which is what we wanted it to do. So we're very excited about that. And there'll be some more information coming out about outreaches that we're going to be doing during the calendar year, okay, all the way through May. And then 2.1, student performances on assessments. These are all of our kids, all of our assessment, you know, just in general, the performance index and percentages. You know, this is how our kids do on the third grade all the way through the EOCs, and this is just an overall number, but we're at 84.8% proficient. And what that means is passing is proficient, then there's accomplished, then there's advanced, and advanced plus. So all the kids that are in those ranges. If you're at basic or below, you're not in that percentage. Doesn't mean we're not going to get you there. It just means we got to intervene and really help out those kids. So just a quick highlight on strategic monitoring. Next slide.
Larry, I appreciate the comparisons to prior years. Have we yet set kind of goals for what it is we want to see? Like when I look at 84%, is that good? Is that bad? If we took 3 previous years and looked at where we started in terms of where we want to go, I'm just trying to put that in a reference point.
Yeah, we can, and we'll have that, yes.
Okay, great.
Yes. All right, what's my next one? There we go. Just PBIS recognitions. We just were notified, announced in November, sorry, wrong month. All of our schools, 100% of our schools, which is exciting, were silver or gold. Forest Hills. Trying to figure out, we got a picture with a big award and it didn't say, but it looks gold. So it was funny. So there's really not we were acknowledged as a district, but specifically you can see the schools have done really well. And this is the positive behavior interventions and support systems that all of our districts are involved in. And fantastic job on their part. That's we're always always want to be in gold. I mean, shoot, why not? But, and we're close.
What's wrong with your elementary school?
I was thinking the same thing. I'll get
Everybody
in there
else's
and
gold
talk to
except
them.
yours, Wendy.
However, having
Whose is that one? No, I know, I'm kidding, I'm kidding.
having been a part of this evaluation process, and I don't know if it's still the same, so I welcome feedback, but it is a lot of steps to demonstrate what you're doing, from having your different overarching goals set. So they come in, they interview students, they ask what the overarching goals are, they ask how those look across different settings. Like it is serious. So getting recognition at all is tough, and silver and gold is a great place to be. So I'll give Sherwood kudos for that, but I'll see if I can do anything to help.
There we go. Next slide. Also, I mentioned to you, I believe not last month, both of our high schools were ranked among the top 5%, but also now we're notified that all of our schools have now made it. Nagel, top 8% in the state of Ohio. The schools, congratulations, Tiffany. As well as all of our elementary schools are in the top 10% in the state of Ohio, and that's by U.S. News and World Report. So a lot of stuff in that, but it's, we just got a good school district. We just do. And we got great kids, great teachers, great administrators, and families that support our schools. We're really blessed. We really are.
Way to leave out the board.
Oh, did I not say the board? I specifically. No, absolutely, of
Go to my
course.
injury journal.
We just have a very supportive community, and it's neat. Again, just different things. Denim and Diamonds with the Forest Hills Foundation. I mean, it's everybody doing a part, and that's what's cool about it. It's really neat. Finally, the most important slide, probably, is what happens if we get snow Armageddon. Well, we sent out a reminder, just so you know. We annually do that just to remind people. I think we did it here a couple weeks ago when we were going to get a little bit of snow just in case. But the best thing to do, and I just want you to understand, there's a coordinated effort that takes place really early in the morning. So I have a handful of people that actually drive the roads, okay, with transportation. So we know we're getting a real-time look, and that usually starts anywhere 3:45 to about 4:15, 4:30. 4:30, I get my first call, and then I hit the computer. I start looking at radar. I start looking at all that stuff, and I got another guy back here making calls to townships and state, people, road removals. It's a coordinated effort to see how people are doing. I've been in districts before where we could get the lots cleared off, but the city didn't bring in their workers until 6 o'clock. Well, we couldn't get it done. We've been very fortunate. We got great partners with Anderson Township, and I mean they do a fantastic job, and they communicate well with us. So all of those pieces of information, then I start texting area superintendents and see what's happening in there as well. It's a reference. We got to know what we got coming on, and then we usually have we like it if we can. We try to make a decision, or I try to make a decision by 5:15. I won't blame anybody else. But it's 5:15, maybe 5:30 latest, because we do know that we've got drivers coming in. So if I know it well enough in advance, we call it, and then that triggers another series of events. And one is a text to all of you, which is the same text I send then to all of these guys back here, and then I start working with Josh and with Jody and others so we can get on the news. That's a whole different call animal. We've changed the website. So there shouldn't, and we obviously send out our one call system, and that gets out there. So it triggers a lot of things in a short amount of time. And another thing we have to try to determine is, can we get our parking lots cleaned off and salted in time? That's really a huge piece too. So lots of moving parts. It happens pretty quick, but just want everybody to know that that's there. We also, like I said, put it on our website. So if you ever get up and go wondering, I don't know what's going on, go click on the website. It'll be there. That's the easiest. But some people like to watch the news and get up early and watch it, and so that's it. We have a lot of stuff, and who knows? I've heard it's not supposed to be a fun winter, so don't know if that's true or not. Believe in the Farmer's Almanac, maybe. But that's it. So thank you very much.
I'd like to thank you for taking one for the team, because my daughter's friends all want to know if I have a role in that decision on school board, and I'm happy not to. So thank you.
That's one of those, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. So I don't. You just got to make the best decisions, and once in a while you miss it. They predict Armageddon and it rains. So I think that was my first year that happened. I go, well, we got a rain day. Doesn't happen often, but it did.
Item 6, procedures for public commentary. I'd like to thank Mr. Nye for making me read the disclosure.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. You couldn't take 1 month off, could you?
The board is committed to the board is committed to conducting its meeting in a productive and efficient manner to assure that the meeting is completed in a reasonable amount of time, while also recognizing the importance of fair and adequate opportunity for public input. In order to conduct an orderly and fair representation of expression, the board will provide a period of public participation per policy PZO 0169.1 at every regular board meeting. Regular participation will be a total of 30 minutes. Each speaker will have 3-minute time limit. If there are more than 10 speakers, individual time will be adjusted down to fit within 30 minutes. The board does not discriminate based on the individual content of the speech or viewpoint of the speaker. If several people wish to speak on the same topic, the time limit may be adjusted at the president's discretion. Speakers should be prepared to respond to questions from the board members seeking to clarify the issue.
Could you spell your last name?
Absolutely not. I can go for 30 minutes if you want me to.
Everybody has a 3-minute time.
Thanks for clarifying.
All right. I guess I wasn't going to say this, but the foundation board just found out this afternoon what Mana pointed out, that's the tremendous job everyone did fundraising for Denim and Diamonds. I am not on that committee, so I can take no credit for it other than the obscene amount of money I paid for an Anderson High School parking pass for my daughter at the silent auction. So thank you to all of them, and you're welcome for a very expensive parking pass. What I was going to say today ties in with some of the things that have just been discussed here. As a lot of you know, wait, did I say Jeff Nye 1,000 Eversole?
No.
I don't think I did.
You violated everything.
Oh, man. So I get to start over? Okay. No. As many of you know, because I saw you there, I spent a few days earlier this week at the Ohio School Board Association conference up in Columbus. Learned a lot of interesting things, met a lot of interesting people. And I drove up with Aaron and Jeremy, and we drove back together. And on the way back, we were just discussing some of the sessions we'd been to and some of the things we're discussing. And I just wanted to highlight one of the things that I found really compelling, I think Aaron and Jeremy did too, is that there were a number of presentations from districts who were talking about the ways they involve students directly in the decision-making for the district. And whether that's sitting on building or district leadership teams or representing the district as ambassadors to the community at events, both inside and outside the schools, it gave the students a real sense of ownership over their education environment and leadership opportunities that was really beneficial to the students, to the teachers and staff, to the administration, and to the community. And so, and I'm not suggesting that students necessarily have any significant degree of control over the trigonometry curriculum or anything, but there are lots of ways to get students involved, and I hope that we all think much harder in the future about ways we can do that better here in Forest Hills. Not saying that anyone's doing it poorly. I think it's really important. I think it should be a point of emphasis for the board. That's all I have today. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff.
Jeff, I'd like to know whether what you paid for the parking pass is more or less painful than the fashion hit I took for really sparkly boots that hurt a lot, but we're all about the diamonds.
And real quick, I want to congratulate you and Aaron and Jeremy. It's not easy campaigning. It's not easy putting yourself out there. It takes a lot of courage. Thank you for running, and Dr. Heiss as well as running. It's not easy, but congratulations on your win. And to piggyback what Mr. Hook talked about, the snow. You all three have children in the district. The phone calls will come from your children and their friends. Is school open tomorrow? Can your dad do something about it? Is school open tomorrow? You will get 10 to 15 a day. But congratulations. Up next, Human Resources. Mr. Fellows.
It's IU Fellows.
Good evening to the board. Item 7.1 starts our consent agenda this evening with our calendar adoption for the next couple years. Those are listed in there, and as you recall, we had a public hearing in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code last month. So those are there for approval. They've been up on our website, and we're looking forward to anxiously getting those locked in and making preparations, on the eve of making some preparations for the upcoming year in 26-27. Questions on the calendar?
Can we have school start after September 1st?
Well, there you go. Yeah. Everybody wants to start after Labor Day, get out before Memorial Day, have a week at Thanksgiving.
2 weeks
and
of Christmas. yeah.
Squeeze in some school every now and then,
So it does look like the way the calendar falls for the next 2 years, we do get out before Memorial Day, which I know just happens based on how all the dates fall, but that is a question I've had. So no, but yes to this, right?
But the
You can do
word
one, but
"we"
not
is a
both.
little nuanced, because "we" is true for students.
Sorry. I'm looking at the student calendar,
But
apologies.
in 27, 28, it does bleed over. It's a leap year. And we did some creative problem solving with our district advisory council, just in terms of the spring election day, and trying to be nimble around that in the same way that we are in November. So anyways, that's that. Any other? Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like every year, we just get a little bit earlier going back to school. Can you give some insight, I guess, into when you're building one of these calendars, the factors you're considering? I mean, I know there's a certain number of days that we have to be in. You have to have your PD days, holidays, all that type of stuff. But like, it looks like our phase-in days are moving to Tuesday and Wednesday this year, right? So like, kind of, what's the thought process going behind?
It's a lot of different factors, but there's a balancing act that happens between the first and the second semester, which is a larger deal at the high school level when you're dealing with AP classes and things like that. The high-stakes testing takes a significant chunk of time in the spring semester as well, so you'll notice that the spring semester is longer in terms of student days. It also depends, quite frankly, I joke about leap year, but the way the calendar falls, and then the way that our contract language applies when those days fall. There's a work day after the new year, so that will kind of impact when we return, which week we return there. And then I would say if I've gone back and poured over the last decade plus of calendars, and we tend to be in the middle of August for the most part. This year we've got, you notice we moved up just a slight tick, which everybody's got their right to an opinion on whether we're holding our kids out too long or they're ready to go back
Right.
mid-August. Yeah, I think that, honestly, there's not just one thing.
Yeah.
There's just a lot, yeah.
One other.
Rob, sorry,
Sorry.
Jason, I was just going to add as an additional thought, having been in education for about 20
thoughts
years,
weren't
I
done.
feel like about a decade ago, what?
My thoughts weren't done. I'm just kidding, go ahead.
I'm adding on to Rob's comments and hopefully
Yeah.
some clarity, unless you would like to disagree, and then by all means, continue. About 10 years ago, I feel like there was a little bit of a shift earlier across the state as everyone started to recognize that state tests, which ostensibly test the entire year's curriculum, are happening in March and April. So if you weren't starting till September, you were potentially losing 2 or 3 more weeks of content coming into tests when you still then had another 6-8 weeks on the tail end. So I don't know if you would agree with that, Rob, but my sense about 10 years ago was we all started shifting a little bit earlier to try to get in more of the year's worth of content before we're sitting kids for a state test
Right.
that ostensibly requires a year's worth of content.
Are the state's tests getting earlier? Being administered earlier?
Are they being administered? I
You
mean,
get a window, and that's
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, it used to
gotta
be.
hit that window.
yeah.
Yeah, I would defer to our district testing coordinator on that, but I would say that those windows have changed, and where it used to be pretty locked in on a couple weeks of OGT or whatever it might be. Now it's windows, and it can start as early as X, but if you start X, you only have X number of days before you have to finish, so it's a lot of triangulation that happens.
And it would have gotten earlier because it used to be one test, OGT, right?
Sure.
And now you have how many high school tests, and they each get a 2-week window, and they can't overlap so much because you've got students taking the same test. So yeah, it has widened and pushed back. I think there are a lot of factors there.
All that to say, truly, it is, in the scope of things, it's a marginal creep up into August. I'm looking at, I did a calendar comparison with a number of schools, many of which are in the ECC, and this was a couple years ago, so I'd have to update start dates. But, everyone that I was looking at. The latest one at that time that was going back was Winton Woods on the 21st of August. The earliest was, looks like Little Miami, the 15th. But even last year, we had school districts, Mason, I think, went back quite a bit earlier. So
Yeah.
it is a factor too, not to be lost, that when that start date is identified, then we've got 3 days prior with our staff. And then we have orientation for all of our new staff the week prior to that. So you've got counselors returning ideally like the first week of August. And if it creeps up too much, then, you know, we're looking at end of July, and all of a sudden the summer is bye-bye.
Then the one
Sorry,
other.
Mr. Simmons, what
Yeah.
else would you like to
The
ask?
the one other
More thoughts?
thing that I noticed, that Thanksgiving is an entire week. And-
Yeah, so this was a bit by some popular demand in terms of having that full week at Thanksgiving. I know there are some districts that have already moved that direction. So we found a way to snag a day here and there and put that on the Monday, Tuesday of November, Thanksgiving week. So we'll have a 3-day fall break for parents. That Friday will be a PD day for our staff. But that's one of those days, moving it into November. The other one came out of the spring.
So PD will be the 27th, the day after Thanksgiving.
No, I'm not sure which calendar
I
you're
see.
looking at, but.
Okay, well, I guess the bigger thing with the week of Thanksgiving is, one, I feel like if we're going to this and it's on both calendars, there's no like coming back from that. Like people are gonna get an expectation, of, like we get a week off, so like this is gonna be the expectation moving forward and among our parents and everything. So I think we're saying we're committing to this for the foreseeable future. The second thing is just most people don't get Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off work. And so this puts an additional burden on either finding childcare or using annual leave or sick day leave. I guess I don't know, the kids want it, I'm sure, right? But I'm concerned about the burden it places on families for additional childcare needs for 3 days that they haven't traditionally had to rely on childcare for full day.
It's a great point. The only thing I would add is we're merely shifting where that childcare need may have otherwise been.
Okay.
It was on a Monday in October.
So it's the same
and
total
a Monday
days, yep.
in February or March, and it's moving to the Monday, Tuesday.
Okay.
It's,
Okay.
in other words, it's not another, if that makes sense.
It's really the same thing you guys did, because we used to just get a week off for Christmas, or maybe a week and a day. And then I think about 6, 7, 8 years ago, you made that switch to go to 2 weeks. So you just started cherry picking a couple days here and
Yep.
there.
Yep.
And just bulking it all into the same group. So overall, it's the same number of days off. It's just you're chunking them
Yeah.
rather than a random 3-day weekend here and there.
Yeah, and you might remember from the board update, I can't remember when it was, maybe a month or so ago, the number one biggest feedback that we got in terms of parents was locking in 2 weeks at winter break.
Yep.
Yeah.
The next one was this, week at Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
And I would only add that it has ebbed and flowed, and so it's not something that is necessarily you can't come back from, but
Sure.
I
I
understand.
mean, I think of it in the context of like, this is now, we can go on like a significant trip
Sure.
on Thanksgiving now, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
Disney?
yeah. Disney.
Wendy, did you have another question, or did you?
No.
Okay.
No, sorry.
Sorry.
I
She's
was
already
just-
stolen one
I
person's
was making
thoughts.
sure Dr. Simmons
Yeah.
had a chance to.
No, I'm good. I just
share all
wanted
his
to
thoughts.
There's 3
hear
minutes.
some of the
left.
rationale behind it, as some thoughts I had when looking over it. So
Sure.
Appreciate it.
No, they're good points. So hopefully with enough notice, folks will be able to plan and adjust accordingly. And, tethering it to that Thanksgiving weekend where it's a heavy travel week, hopefully that'll be well received from parents, students, and staff alike. If there aren't any other questions, we'll just move forward with the consent agenda. 7.2 is the HR report. Have a number of retirements there under item A. Collective 242 years among a number of certified and one classified employee. And I would also add that one of them is just a change in the resignation date, backing it up a couple days to coincide with the last workday of the first semester. But for those listed, just thank them all for their service. A couple of them are intending to be rehired, and that will come in accordance with proper notice and hearing and all that starting in February. We'll get that noticed. We'll do the actual hearing in March, and then my hope would be that the board would act upon reemployment in April. So for Tracy Eckert, Mark Ernst, Brad Kerlin, Donna Meckley, Deb Miller, Donna Pruse, Mary Beth Sharkey, and Trish Sullivan on the certified side. Incredible amount of years of service for the Forest Hills School District and outside of the district, and wish them all the best in their future plans. On the classified side, Kelly Sunday, over 30 years of
She's been there for a while. She's been there for a while, hasn't she?
Yeah. So she's been here, we've got over 32 years in the district. She's a head cook at Air. And I was just talking with my son about Mrs. Sunday and mentioned, yeah, she's gonna be retiring. He's like, wait, what? I was like, yeah, in like December, it's coming up. So definitely thank her for her service and all the lunches that she's helped prepare for our kids over the years. Items B, C, D, and E are fairly straightforward. We have a number of volunteers listed. I would point out under item D, just on the appointments, I just want to shout out to John Eckert and to Chad Raleigh, our new coordinator for maintenance, as well as Brian Stewart, our supervisor for custodial. You know, we lost Dean Tibby, our electrician, and then right on the heels of that, we got notice from Bob Hartley that he was retiring as well. So it was 2 out of the maintenance department. That was pretty significant. And when your maintenance department is as small as ours, there was the potential that we were going to, struggle to find an electrician. But through their efforts, we've got both positions filled and backfilled. We moved Kyle Eden over from custodial position into the maintenance position for Bob. And we hired externally Richard Heinzman for Dean Tibby as an electrician. And word on the street, John, is 2 thumbs up for both. Great moves. And like I said, have backfilled those custodial positions. So that's positive news on that end. Other than that, a couple bus drivers on appointments, couple, paraprofessional, and we're moving. So, number of volunteers, to be specific, 131. Need them. Can't do life without them. They're listed in there, and then a handful of student teachers as well. One of whom you taught.
I did. Stephanie Patton's
How
going to be
about
joining
that?
us at Anderson, so that's exciting. She'll be great.
Fantastic. And we have one, Sarah Lindsay, who was an Anderson grad, so it's always nice to bring them back and give them a little bit of insight into what we do. So, questions on the HR report?
Is the Section D, the classified, are those all new FTE positions, the 15 paras, 2 health aides, and 1 monitor?
No.
Okay.
Those are coming off of their probation contract,
Okay.
if that's what you're referring to there.
Okay, so it's
Yes.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them that came in like over the summer, and so it's that 60-day point
Okay.
where they'll move on to their 1 year, and then they'll go to they do 3 2-year terms as a limited employee. Any other questions? Thank you very much. That concludes my report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Go Hoosiers.
Oh, jeez.
I feel like those are fighting words at this table, Rob. I don't know. I mean, I'm okay with it. Just whoever's happy.
Rob's still mad about the Turpin Anderson game back in 2019.
Item 8.1, a resolution declaring impractical transportation. Mr. Eckert.
Good evening. We'll do that real quick with I just have the 2 items on the agenda today. 8.1, declaring impractical. As you see, this is not something new that we've done. Couple follow-up things on that. Sarah, I have confirmed that there is no time frame in where we can just cut this off. The best way to explain this, after talking with legal and making sure we get everything straight, the best way to look at this is these are just people that are in the district. Take high school. We don't schedule juniors and seniors. If a junior or senior never, ask for a bus until later in the year, we still are responsible to transport them. We are responsible to transport these, outside schools regardless. And if we have already declared something impractical, if someone comes in and needs to do it, which follows that way. So it's just really more like to look at it as they're requesting transportation that is due to them. And therefore, we've declared it impractical, so therefore the additions to the list. And Wendy, you had sent me an email real quick about this, asking some questions about the longevity. Very preliminary look real quick. Bobby Daniels has done some digging for me. There is no immediate, anyone that's been with us for any substantial amount of time that has jumped to this list that she's found. She has not gone through every single thing, but a quick sampling. These, for the most part, they may have been with us in kindergarten or something, but, they've been traditionally in that setting.
Okay, so these are students who are already at schools outside our district and have heard about the payment
Some
in
of them,
lieu of
yeah, and some
transportation.
they may have moved
That's
in.
exactly what's happening.
Yes, that's a huge.
They're hearing, there's a bunch of people who live in my neighborhood, you can tell based on where they live. I'm like, clearly people were talking at a neighborhood gathering and they were like, hey, did you know you can get free money? I did not.
But
That's
it just
exactly
helps
what's
again with this
happening.
confirmation. These are not students leaving the district
No,
and then
it's just,
asking for transportation
they're like, hey,
funds.
it's an extra $1,600.
They're
Awesome.
already there and
We can
now
go to
realize
Tahiti.
they can get the funds. Yes, thank you.
And my
Thank you.
guess, the few $100s they receive would not cover the tuition for the swap either.
Is that, John, is that a
Yes, sir.
state law that we are following with the
Yes.
transportation and with,
Yes.
so we can't set a cutoff?
No.
Like, we're obligated to follow the state law on this and?
Now, what we don't necessarily have to do is retroactive. They can't say, well, for the past 5 years, no. But within that year, legal said.
Do you prorate it for the
Yes,
remainder
it
of the year?
can be prorated.
Okay.
And where we've moved with that, if the student is new to that school, that is prorated. But if they've been there, just again, it's like they just now ask for transportation.
But I mean, like, if they ask for it in January, do we just give it to them for the second semester? Like, is that dollar amount just for January through May?
Operationally,
Yeah.
the way we do it, if they've been enrolled the entire year, we just pay forward because they were eligible the entire year. If they just come in, enroll, okay, go back to the concept of transportation. The senior who asked for it in January because she's finished with her fall sports, we give it to her. Just same way. Now, if a student just moves in, if it's a new enrollment to one of these schools, those are all prorated, yes.
Seems a little backwards, but.
I know, I was going to say, I don't think that's exactly the same, because the senior who finishes sports and we start providing a bus in January, we're not somehow retroactively providing a bus back to September.
But she had
so-
the opportunity. They had the,
Is this, again, are we complying with state law?
Yes,
This is not something.
100% with
We are
state
not,
law.
we're not going, you know what, we're just gonna be nice people and give them the full year.
Correct.
We're just
Yeah, no,
complying,
we're-
right, like,
Not that nice.
yes.
I'd like to go back. I'm
This was
gonna
just
send my kid retroactively to private
The
school.
nice long explanation I got from legal.
Yeah.
Good,
All
thank
right,
you.
Okay.
that's fine. Thank you, John.
Oh, no problem. Okay, now, before we talk about the cooperative, just real quick thing. I've got to chime in, and I don't want to steal anything, because Dr. Simmons and Mr. Bibb had to listen to me ramble on quite a bit a few weeks ago with the Facilities Committee meeting. But one thing that Mr. Hook has said, and where we are, we're getting to where we can start doing the preventative things, the smaller things that don't lead into bigger problems. We still have some very large ticket items, right now. The overall PI program is roughly 5.2, not PI, excuse me, the PI is roughly $5.2 million for this upcoming rotation. And if you notice, I've tried to get away from calling them summer programs now, because in the past, it had to be the summer because it was always ripping off a roof or shutting down an entire system. Well, now we're not doing that. To the fact that we've actually started moving on some of these things already, because we're doing smaller but very critical things. We're doing some small flooring jobs at Nagel. We have some significant playground main equipment improvements. We're taking care of the tennis courts resurfacing. I'm speaking for Steve, but with the technology piece of it, we're going to do some phone system upgrades that are not large ticket items, but they're now available, the monies are available to start doing these things, and some PA systems. So we'll still see some large ticket items, but you're going to start seeing more small ticket items that are even below bid thresholds that we're putting on the PI program and that's the thing. So ideally, eventually, we'll get down to everything's a lot smaller, but a lot longer list. So does that make some sense to you? So we're in a really good spot. I'm very excited about everything we've got going, and I'm really excited now that we can start taking care of the things that we've put in place. So with that said, last month we talked about the air handling unit that we're putting in to Turpin. This month's agenda, as far as the PI program goes in, again, our turf projects, we have chosen to go through a consortium, the EPC, just like we did 2 years ago with Anderson. That turned out to be a very valuable process, very clean. They take care of, the EPC handles all the state bidding, all the paperwork and process, and they do all the due diligence that keeps us 100% legally compliant. Obviously, our legal team backs over, so all the documentation. So it's a nice, clean set. And so, assuming we pass this resolution, we will contract with the EPC to do both Turpin project and the Nagel Middle School project of turf and track improvements across the board. So item 8.2 is the motion to adopt a resolution to approve the cooperative contract for stadium and improvements for Nagel and Turpin through the EPC.
John, real quick question. Do you know how much annually we spend fixing Nagel's field?
No, I don't have a great number for
Ballpark?
Ballpark? No,
Okay.
I will have to get that because there's sprinkler repairs tied in and all sorts of stuff. I can get some.
But long-term,
numbers long-term,
it's cheaper to do the turf, just so the public knows.
exponentially cheaper, yes. You'll just, again, like Mr. Hook was saying, we're talking with the safety aspect of it, the quality of play, the availability of play, the community use that will be able to go forward. It makes it a much more viable operational environment, for sure.
John, will the Nagel field be lined for multiple sports,
Yes.
even though there's not soccer at Nagel, but soccer
Yes.
could be played there, for example?
Yes,
Okay.
we are setting it up for a full-use field. Just like every high school, we will be having lacrosse lines on it. We'll be having the soccer lines and all the football lines. So any current,
And then we're gonna, over the summer, we're gonna fence that around
Yes.
as well, so people know that. That's why
Yes.
the fences are gonna go up, to keep foot traffic and bikes and cars off the.
From driving across.
Cars especially.
cars are the big, there will be no way for
You
cars.
could, you'll still be able to access it and walk and,
Yes.
exercise.
Just not drive.
Just not, not drive.
Right, because that's one thing we don't want, we're not locking it down for the from the community, but we're locking it down from the
Auto traffic.
people that aren't going to take care of it. Okay, so with that said, at this time, are there any other questions on either topic?
Nope.
Thank you. At this time, it is recommended that the board approve item 8.1 and 8.2 as part of consent agenda.
Thanks, John. One last thing I'll note regarding this for the community is John, along with Josh in Communications, done an awesome job of detailing and telling the story of how we're using this PI money. If you can go onto our Forest Hills website under departments, facilities, and then ongoing projects. And there is a whole host of information about of spreadsheets. You can see the past projects, current projects, and future projects, anticipated projects broken down by year, as well as pictures, so you can actually see evidence, I guess, of what's being done and the difference that the community's money is making on our district. So it's a fully transparent process. In the facility and technology meeting, Bob will give an update here in a little bit, but we go in detail on all this stuff with the entire team. But the community is able to see exactly what's being done, how much everything costs, when it's been paid, all that stuff on our website. Again, that's departments, facilities, ongoing projects, and it's all there for you.
Thank you. And thanks to Josh, because he's really the one that makes it look good for us. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Up next, teaching and learning overnight field trips. Ms. Tinsley?
All right, good evening. 9.1 is for our overnight field trips. We have 2 wrestling tournaments that we have dates for that we just each year come when we have those dates updated. We also have an event for theater and film that's coming, so we ask that we go ahead and approve those as presented. And then 9.2, we have a proposal for a facility dog internship agreement for all secondary schools, Anderson, Turpin, and Nagel. It is a partnership with an organization called Circle Tail. It's a local nonprofit that provides both service and facility dogs to schools and community organizations. Phase 1 of this initiative is to just partner with the secondary schools. There are already several districts I'd shared with you in a board information update regarding different districts that do partner with Circle Tail. A couple of those include Cincinnati Public, Fairfield, Lakota, Mason, Milford, Oak Hills. This partnership comes at no cost to the district. The HOPE project is a project that, with the brainchild of Tiffany and some folks that she's been working with, has been looking at how do we engage our middle schoolers, and I think that she's done a phenomenal job at really building a culture at middle school, where I know I have an 8th grader that when he comes home at night, he's disappointed. He'd rather be at school.
That's amazing.
And that's a wonderful thing to create the feeling when that could be maybe the hardest, most challenging time of a lot of people's lives. And so with this, she was asked to work at the foundation, the Hayden Foundation, and a couple of other donors who wanted to support hope and belonging and a welcoming environment at Nagel. And one of the things that came from that was this kind of hope and dream to bring animals, dogs specifically, to the school. Through the HOPE project, the initial funds that are needed for training will be covered that way. They'll also be working with different organizations from PTO, student-led projects, and other fundraisers to help provide support for any of the costs. It is a rigorous process for the dogs to be certified, as well as the hosts. Hosts are our teachers who have asked to be part of that. They do have to go through, like I said, significant training. There will be no paws that actually set foot on our grounds until after the training is completed, and that we have identified that it is a match for the school, for the teacher, for everybody involved. We have other handlers that are also trained as well, so that there's no instructional time that's taken from students, that if we have to have restrooming breaks and that kind of thing, it will happen with the handlers that are not involved with leading instruction at that time. So if you've seen the contract, they're pretty detailed. I feel pretty confident in the amount of work and vetting that goes into this process. And so at this time, we are asking that you approve the contracts as presented.
Could you do the paw thing again?
The paw.
Kim, I have
Chuck had offered to come stand next to me and
do that?
model for me, but I said I had it, so.
Kim, I've seen programs like this before. I have a few questions. First, like what is it going to look like? During students in the halls walking by, there's a dog they can pet, or they coming in the classroom? Like, how do you envision this actually looking day to day?
Am I allowed to tag team onto your question? 'Cause
Yeah.
I had something similar. Thinking within our MTSS framework, kind of where this fits. Is this all students all the time? Is this specific when it says therapeutic to students who need I was going to say a pause, but that sounds,
That's actually very cute and accurate, yes. I think that it is for those students who, what do we do when we see dogs? Most of us, unless you're not a dog person, when you see a dog, you're like, oh, that makes me happy. Sometimes Ralph, Josh's dog, comes to visit on Fridays at central office, which is probably the day that I need decompression the most, and it makes me happy. So the idea of having the animals there is for that. It's kind of that moment, especially within I'm going to use the wrong word, Jamie. It's not the calm down room. It's prior to needing a calm down space. But that like when students are dysregulated, sometimes having those animals can help support that feeling of calm. And so the intention, am I using the correct term? I confuse them. I use them interchangeably, so I wanted to be sure. But it's around creating positive spaces. It's around deregulation. The other thing too is that we have to be cognizant of animals and making sure that spaces are calm for them. So we wouldn't put dogs in situations where they themselves would not be able to be regulated.
so they're not going to be in the hallway during transitions.
I can imagine that there may be a moment that they are, but that's not the purpose necessarily. The purpose is for them to be in spaces where they could be loved on and cared for and
Right.
give something back to students.
All right. There are people in this community that don't like me, I get it, but I'm getting ready to say something that's going to be wildly unpopular. Like, I have some concerns with this. I love dogs.
You have huge dogs.
I think we agree on.
Really?
I love dogs too, but this worries me.
Okay. I've seen these programs. I guess my first question is, has our legal team reviewed the contract and given a thumbs up on it? The contract that we are being shown here.
Yes, we've also had communications with our insurance. I know that we have some underwriters that we're talking with. I've talked at length with a variety of different leaders and superintendents who are in these other districts who provide this service to schools. I know that we've had conversations around, like, what if people don't like dogs, or what if people are allergic to dogs? There's going to have to be a communication that goes to families so that we know if we have families that are like, don't let my kid around the dog, they won't be in those spaces. So we'll just have to be thoughtful and mindful. And
Yeah.
I know that we've had questions ourselves about if a dog would bite a child, what happens?
So that goes to my concerns in the contract. And I know a lot of this is boilerplate, but we are assuming all of the responsibility based on how the contract says for an incident like that. There's all this stuff in here that says we agree to indemnify and hold harmless the organization, that we acknowledge all these risks, and we are acknowledging we don't have the right to sue should something arise, even out of the negligence of the organization. I feel like that puts all the legal burden on us should something happen. And even though these dogs, I have the best dogs in the world, but you can get in their face at the wrong time, they can snip, right? I love the idea, and I hate trying to being this voice here, but I just have some concerns about it, and I don't know how to resolve them.
I think one of the considerations too is the amount of training that does occur, and that after, like, it's not just okay, here are your dogs, see you later. We have consistent communication with Circle Tails. They will also continue to come and do site visits, both at the home of the person who has the animal. They will come to the buildings. They will offer ongoing support and training. When I've talked with other leaders who have worked with them, there's not concern, and there's not been incidents on their watch.
Are the dogs muzzled when they're in the school?
No.
I think it's almost, correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, because we do a little bit at UC.
Yeah, that's what I have experience with it, yeah.
I mean, they're almost service or therapy dogs.
Yes.
Like, they're not pets.
Right.
Like, it's a different level of dog. I understand what you're saying. I think it's a totally different level of dog that you see walking around. I mean, you walk around the airport sometimes, there are dogs just like this that walk
They
around
will
and provide
either-
comfort to travelers and what. It's that exact same concept here. I know what you're saying, but it's not a pet.
Correct.
Like the pets that we have, like you can get in their face, and like I have 3 of them at home. Like you can get in their face and they growl at you and give you nasty. These dogs, I think, are trained exponentially more than any of our dogs ever will be, and I think that's the difference between what we're thinking about with dogs and possibly attacking, growling, biting, nipping, versus these types of dogs that are going to be in these facilities or in the schools.
Prior to them.
Well, there's a chance with anything.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a chance when you train a bus driver, they do something stupid and take a left on red.
Yeah.
I'm like, but they have proper training, and at some point you have to rely on the proper training. I mean, this is one of those, like, I will freely admit, like, I will rely on you guys. You've done far more research on this, and it's not like we are the alpha adopter in this situation. There are certainly a lot of other school districts that have done it. UC does it, and I've never heard anything negative about. Is there a risk? Yeah, there's a risk to doing anything.
There are other organizations who use different programs. We went with Circle Tail because of the amount of training. The dogs have to have a certain level of obedience training before they even begin this process with our adults. And then the adults are also part of the training. So, and they have to go through and pass training together and have certification. And so if we're at April and they're not kind of meeting and matching as a duo, then they will not move forward. The dogs are typically 1 to 2 years old. They're either labs or Goldens. I think the breed matters. I think the age matters. The number of service matters. The match matters.
Yeah.
And that Circle Tails does not then step out. There's also in the agreements, and I haven't shared that with you, there is an agreement that is between the host and Circle Tail. They will be doing home visits. Do you have a lid for your trash can? Do you have access to go in and out for breaks? Like, it's a very rigorous process, and Circle Tail's part of that process the entire time. If there are issues with illness, what have you, they help us navigate that. The reason we take ownership is if Rob Fellow says he's bringing a dog to central office, fingers crossed, man. If he does, then if he chooses to leave and work for another organization, he doesn't take the dog with them. It allows, there's some protection for where we place the dog, and that it's essentially our decisions about whether it can or cannot come.
What about an agreement between Forest Hills and like the handlers and like what your expectations are going to be? Like, who pays for the dog food? Who pays, you know?
Those are all things that are
There's a ton of
covered.
questions. My biggest thing is allergies, because my little one is allergic to some pets, and it's just the dander and everything that gets into the HVAC and all that. And I know you're trying to do a good thing by bringing the dogs there, but then there are going to be those students that are isolated away from that because they can't be around the dogs.
Well, we will have to look at designated areas and see what
How many
feedback we have.
we
dogs
do
are we
that-
talking about per school?
One.
Just one?
Can we do that
Yeah,
for
I think
peanut
so.
allergies?
Just
Secondary, we
Yeah,
want to see
I understand
if,
what you're saying,
we're
but-
also wanting to slow
Yeah,
roll
but the
it
peanut
with
allergy is
that.
different because it's a table at the cafeteria. This dog's going to be all over the school. And
And that's, I mean, ultimately, there has to be the communication with
hearing
our
the dog's gonna
families,
be
and
all
they
over
have to be able to tell us what their concerns are so that we can plan around it.
But, so our legal team has reviewed it, and they've given thumbs up. And then we have insurance coverage should
And
an
then
incident happen.
the host also has to
And the
have.
host also, okay. Should a situation require us to financially make somebody whole, we have insurance to cover that.
Yes.
literally.
Financially, not literally, figuratively whole,
You
potentially.
know, like,
Um,
right? I mean,
Okay, okay.
But through, as far as like food, our hosts
Yeah.
will provide the food. I mean, they're getting a dog out of this. They will have some skin in the game, but at the same
Right, I mean, I
time, we
would like
also
them all
have
here, too, but
fundraisers and
thinking
different things, that there won't be a cost in that respect
Is-
to us.
So is this dog, like 8th grade science teacher, is this dog sitting in that teacher's classroom?
More than likely, in most of the situations, we try to pair with a counselor, sometimes an
Okay.
intervention specialist. I know like in Turpin's case, it is not one of those, but we are working with others,
Okay.
the handlers, and things are involved so we have it in the locations that we need to.
That also helps keeping it away from the general population.
Yeah.
That it's not the 8th grade science teacher
Right.
that's in the middle of school. You're with an intervention specialist, or you're with a counselor or something.
And we'll be smart too. I mean, we have situations too where today's not a good day to bring the dog to school. So it won't necessarily be an everyday thing. We will make reasonable decisions.
Okay.
I think about my kids' response to their dog, our dog, when they've had a hard day, and you're right, there is,
That's the way I
there's
look at it.
something, so I appreciate all these questions, I agree, they were all the things swirling in my head too. But I, at the end of this, I guess I would bring it
If I
back
can
to,
get
could
a dog to
see,
come to cabinet meetings, that's
I
my
can
goal.
see how
That's
this
my
would
next-
help with
The next time I
find
talk
out
about
about
getting
it.
dogs.
emotions
Bring a
and
dog to a
providing a
board
sense of
meeting.
calm and
Right.
for some of our kids in moments, yeah.
And really quick, the Hope Project, is that something that you guys are going to be doing moving forward? Like, I agree with a lot of those transition programs and everything, but I don't think it's a good idea to have high school teachers having overnights with 8th, 9th graders. I don't think that's a good idea.
Well, I think context is everything. I think
Right.
being clear about what those overnights, so in the proposal, there were a couple of options discussed about just different, like we have overnights with Camp Curran, we have overnights with Washington DC, we do a number of things like that. So are there hope camps that we can have to support a transition and get kids excited about, okay, I love my middle school experience, can I love my high school experience just as much? I think we have time to plan that, and just like we would with any other overnight, we would come here and go through our process. So right now, there's not anything on the table specific right now from the project. It was kind of a, let me dream big and share with you what are some things that we would like to do to continue to inspire our kids as they move into high school, because high school becomes more challenging. And so how do we prepare our kids for that excitement that we want them to have with learning? So it's not to say that we won't have those moments or we won't have those proposals, but if we do, we're going to follow our processes.
Okay. And like a legacy wall and all that stuff too, I would hope you guys would follow policy
Yep,
and,
100%.
yeah, okay.
As somebody with a 6th grader, I'd like to see it continue.
And what we'll do is we'll continue to follow policy and bring it to you for discussion.
Kim, thanks. Usually if I have something that in-depth, I'll call you in advance or something. I didn't have a chance to read this contract thoroughly until a few hours before the meeting, so
Okay.
wasn't trying to spring something on you, but I appreciate you answering the questions.
It's okay. I do want to mention too that as we talked about wellness earlier, and while we've kind of created an overview for, our dreams around the Hope Project, the intent too, when we talk about some of those different grant requests and things, we are working, Ollie and I know Josh and I are going to meet here soon to talk about kind of that overall wellness in terms of what does wellness in the forest look like. And so that's something that I hope we'll also share, how do sources of strength fit in with our facility dogs and all of the different things, because I think it's hard for people to understand
Yeah.
how all of those things are connected. So that's something we are working on. I think that could also help us as we talk with donors and just our families about kind of that umbrella of wellness in our district. So that's coming.
Well, and I think too, regarding wellness, Ali was able to share the student connection survey data, right? And one takeaway looking at that is 3-year trends, like almost every metric we've been steadily increasing over the last 3 years, which is awesome to see. The variables that seem to be the ones that consistently are falling below are things like a sense of belonging or finding a positive outcome to deal with a difficult situation. And initiatives such as this, I think, can go a long way to addressing some of those mean scores that students seem to still struggle with in our district. So Tiffany too, thank you for trying to find these type of opportunities for our students in creative outside the box ways.
Being a middle schooler was probably the most uncomfortable moment in my life. Being a high schooler wasn't that much better. if we're able to do things, especially in the age of social media and all of the pressure that we didn't have as teenagers, if we could do some things to give kids a little hope and motivation, that's all we're trying to do.
Yeah.
And it goes back to what you said about the culture she created at Nagel. I mean, I've had 4 kids through Nagel, and you came through and the 4th one was there, and it was a night and day difference from the other 3. So whatever you've done, keep doing it.
I appreciate you saying that to Tiffany, because I don't think that it's said enough to her that what she's done is created magic, and that when she tells me to dress up like a cowgirl, I'm gonna do it. When she tells me that we're doing this glow party, we're doing it. So even though I too is reluctant to talk about dogs, I'm standing up here and telling you all I can about dogs because I believe in her and her vision.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
Can I ask one more quick question?
Yep.
About, excuse me.
I'm not dressing up like a cowgirl tomorrow, by the way. Go ahead.
One of the grants going through was about American history curriculum for like 12 kids in an ESC program. Will that curriculum align to our courses of study?
Yes.
Okay, and we've already done that review and approval and all that?
We, I think, are still working with the team, so we have funds there, but we still have to go through, but we absolutely will go through that process.
Okay, just curious.
Yeah. Anything else?
All right. We have to vote on this separately, so
Okay.
can I get a motion on 9.2?
Thank you.
Do we need a motion on that?
Thank you, Kim.
I'll make a motion to approve the Circle Tail Inc. Dog Therapy Internship Agreement for Anderson High School, Turpin High School, and Nagel High School.
Second.
Dr. Strickler?
Yes.
Mr. Bell?
Yes.
Mrs. Jonas?
No.
Dr. Simmons?
Yes.
Mr. Bibb?
Yes. All right. And then,
And I will add that they had to convince me with all those same questions multiple times. They really did a good tag team on me.
I love the idea in
Guys
principle.
back here were,
I'm glad that
you know,
we've had the
I
appropriate
just-
people look over it and the right questions asked and all that. Yeah.
it's a good program though. I've not seen one as comprehensive as this
Yeah.
ever, to be perfectly honest with you. So
My only request is that one of the dogs is named Larry.
I like that. Second.
All in favor?
oh, all right. Now we're back to our consent agenda. Item 10.1, 10.1, the treasurer update, sorry.
The first 2 items on the treasurer's agenda concerning our upcoming fiscal year, 26-27, that begins on July 1 of 2026. So, and that would be the preparation of the tax budget. The purpose of the annual tax budget is to demonstrate the need for and the use of the taxes that are collected by our district. So when you look at House Bill 309, which has been passed by the House and pending in the Senate, the Budget Commission is going to be focusing on this report a lot closer. So item 1 is a resolution that's requested by the Hamilton County Budget Commission. This resolution permits the district to file a modified tax budget for the 26-27 fiscal year. And the modified tax budget presents information for those funds that receive tax revenues and eliminates the requirement to present information for those funds that do not receive tax revenues. On the modified budget, our district reports its approved 5-year forecasts and appropriations for debt service, permanent improvement, and building funds, because those are funds that receive taxes. Agenda item 10.2 is the calendar that outlines the requirements and timelines of the Ohio Revised Code to present and file the fiscal year 27 tax budget. And as you can see by the calendar in your agenda, we will be asking the board to approve the tax budget at the organizational meeting on January 10th. Prior to that, the tax budget will be available to the public for viewing at our administrative offices beginning on December 18th. According to Ohio Revised Code, we will need to place an ad in the Cincinnati Enquirer, and that ad will be placed on December 12th. That announces the availability of the budget in the administrative office. The required budget hearing will be held immediately preceding the organizational meeting on January 10th. After the board's approval, the tax budget will be filed in the auditor's office prior to the January 20th deadline by the Ohio Revised Code. Moving on to the treasurer's agenda, item 10.3, our monthly reports. You will see that it begins with donations, as always, and donations over the past month totaled just under $5,000. That brings donations for the total year to slightly over $12,000. Item B gives you a snapshot of our October 5-year forecast, our most recent forecast. Item C presents the general fund, our 5-year forecast revenues by comparing our estimate on the forecast to year-to-date actuals. Primary revenues received during the month of October include the fall payment of our TIF agreements from Anderson Township, which was just under $9 million, and our semi-monthly payments of our state aid, which amounts to about $1.6 million monthly. Item D presents the general fund, our 5-year forecast expenditures by comparing the estimate on the forecast to year-to-date actual expenditures. As you hear me say every meeting, expenditures in the general fund are very stable, and you can divide the total estimated by 12. So with only 4 months or 33% of our fiscal year complete at the end of October, we have spent 32% of our estimate. So again, tracking right where we would expect. Item E presents the activity of the general fund cash balance. The balance at the beginning of our year on July 1st was $31.2 million. After adding revenues received and expenditures deducted year-to-date, our cash balance stands at $47.6 million. We are at a very high point in our cash flow as we have received 1 of 2 annual payments of both property taxes and TIF revenues. Those will be spent down over the next 3 months as expenditures over the next 3 months will exceed revenues. Currently, at October 31st, our unreserved balance stands at $39.7 million, or put another way, we have enough cash to operate the district for 170 days, and after encumbrances, we have enough cash of unreserved cash to operate the district for 142 days. Item F presents the detailed activity in revenues and expenditures for our main permanent improvement special cost center. That's the cost center of the PI that receives the taxes, and that is the only special cost center that is put on the tax budget. We do have other PI special cost centers for turf funds, auditorium funds, things such as that, and you see it listed on the cash position report monthly.
Lana, real quick to interrupt you.
Oh,
So,
sure.
You said the stadium funds, just to squash the rumor, no money from Turpin's stadium fund was sent to Anderson's, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
And as a matter of fact, at the Facilities Committee, we did present that we have, don't have it right in front of me, but I think it was around $437,000 in Turpin's fund.
Yep.
That will go towards turf replacement. We also have around $139,000 in a fund that will go towards Nagel's turf. So we do have some other funds, and you'll see it when we prepare our fiscal year 26 projects. We have those funds as being used to complete that. So good point. Moving on to the next slide. This is where you can see where we stood on our summer 2025 projects. So at 10/31, we've paid out 3.8 in expenditures. That's out of the total revised budget of 4.6 million. So we are still waiting on a final sign-off about 254,000 of the summer projects. And again, as you've heard me say numerous times, we will not pay until we get a sign-off that the work's complete and done. Item G presents investment earnings for the first 4 months of our fiscal year 26 and the prior 4 years' worth of history. And as you can see, interest is starting off strong. To date, we've collected a total of $1,057,000 so far this year. We know there's been a couple of interest rate cuts by the Fed, We did meet with our investment advisors earlier in the month. We've laddered a little bit more in long term so that we hope to kind of, flatten things out, minimize the impact of the rate cuts. Moving on to the next slide, October 31st, bank reconciliations and investments are presented. And then you have items I and J on appropriations. It just shows the effects of the changes this year in appropriations, and what you're going to see is what was talked about earlier. We received $140,000 in teacher grants during the month of October. We've received some additional grants that you'll see on the November report as well. So the appropriations, we needed to increase the appropriations in our special revenue funds, our principals fund, Fund 018, to account for those grants. Item K, requests board approval of an expenditure that did not issue a prior PO in accordance with Ohio Revised Code Section 5706.4D. You also have the October cash report, which details each fund and special cost activity for the month and the fiscal year to date. Any questions on the financial report?
I have some accounting questions.
All righty. Hearing none, I respectfully request that you approve the treasurer's items within the consent agenda, which starts with item 7.1 through item 10.3 and excludes item 9.2.
I'll make a motion to approve action items 7.1 through 10.3, excluding item 9.2 as presented.
Second.
Dr. Strickler?
Yes.
Dr. Simmons?
Yes.
Mr. Bell?
Yes.
Mrs. Jonas?
Yes.
Mr. Bibb?
Yes. Up next, we have committee reports. 11.1 is the policy committee. I think it's Ms. Jonas.
Woohoo, second reading of the policies. We met on 10/14, and it was due to changes of legal updates. I can repeat everything I did last time, or if anybody had any questions or whatnot. Wendy, I think did you get all your questions answered?
I did, yes. Thank you to Larry for clarifying a couple pieces. With regard to policy, everything that's in it makes sense. I know I have had a couple questions in the past with regard to the cell phone policy and making sure that we are overt about the exceptions to the rules for IEPs 504s and health concerns for students. I know I got a couple questions at the beginning of the year when some of the high schools just put out a general no phones ever policy. So just making sure as we put this policy into effect that we are acknowledging that piece and making sure students feel supported with that. But I appreciate your responses to my questions and that we've been able to update the policies.
I had two questions related to policies. The first was the interscholastic athletics policy, policy 2431. I guess.
No change, right? Never mind, keep going.
Yeah, procedurally, how are the students, how are we communicating to the student what the student code of conduct is, athletic code of conduct is, and how do we verify their acceptance of that code of conduct?
They meet every year with the
I'm-
athletic directors and the coaches.
The
and they
students,
review
the
them.
students do
Mhm.
before the season?
Athletes, yep.
Okay. And the reason I ask, because Section B says that violations that could rise to an athletic code of conduct, that could result in their removal from the team. And it gives a list of possible things like use of alcohol, drugs, and tobacco, violation of school rules, all that type of stuff. Given that this is the criteria through which a student would either be suspended and then have the opportunity to, what's the right word? Appeal that decision. I wonder if we should put some comment in there about like, this is not an exhaustive list of possible conduct violations, because it reads as these are the reasons. But there's reasons beyond that that could come up to result in a student being removed from a team. And if we're explicitly stating these things and there's no leeway for something else, if we try to suspend them for something else, I could see
Well,
fuzzy area there.
Yeah, I gotcha. It's hard to list every single thing.
Right.
You could put conduct detrimental to,
Something like that, yeah.
that's,
So we cover ourselves on that.
you don't always know what happens in the locker room, on the team, on the sideline, in the,
Yep.
you know, in any of those unique scenarios.
Yep.
I would agree with you in terms of adding that. I will say, having been the parent who has sat through those meetings with my oldest, they are very clear about just the messaging is more around you represent
Yep.
Yep.
your school and our community all the time, whether you are on the field or off the field, and you know
Right.
that's kind of the messaging for both the parents and the students. So I do think it covers it a little more broadly, but I would agree with you in terms of just having a and other.
Right, yeah. Then the only other question, one I had a question on was policy 3213, the student supervision and welfare. It says in there that staff members are prohibited from electronically transmitting any personally identifiable image of a student, including video, photos, blah, 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 through the use of social media, online networking, email, text. That happens regularly, though. I mean, there's newsletters that go out with pictures of students. There's teachers that have social media accounts showing off cool things that they're doing in the classroom. The district, sports stuff.
Yeah.
And so it seems like there's a regular violation of this policy. So I'm wondering where what the threshold is between what seems like it's commonly shared versus what we're explicitly saying we don't want you sharing. So it's not private student information, but it's clearly pictures of students in school doing things.
Mm-hmm. Well, we do have an opt-out program, so there are kids that we do not take pictures of.
Right.
And that's kind of it's easier to do that than it is to get permission for every
Right.
type of photo and.
And that I totally get,
scenarios.
but the policy is specifically saying you're not allowed to do any of it, regardless of whether students are opting in or out.
Yeah. So staff members are prohibited from electronically transmitting any personally identifiable image, but then it does say at the end, unless such transmission has been made a part of a pre-approved curricular matter or co-curricular, extracurricular event or activity such as a school-sponsored publication or production. But to your point, if it's a,
Pre-approved by
rogue
who?
Insta volleyball page,
Right.
or is that then technically a violation? So yeah, I guess the question is the pre-approval and what's happening there.
Well, I can't pull it up for whatever reason. So if we have heartburn with it, we can always pull it and put
I
it
was
in
gonna
our
say.
spring. We can pull that one and put
Yeah.
it in our spring update.
What's interesting is
I
that's
just
not a
can't pull it up.
change.
It's not a change.
It's not a
I was just
change.
going
It's
through and
been in
reading them
there,
as
but
we had them,
yeah.
and it caught my eye.
Yeah.
So it's probably something I should have caught last year.
And I think your point is valid, because we don't want any of our teachers to get in trouble for doing something that has been common practice, because all of a sudden it's picked up.
I gotcha.
Right.
And also, while we're at it, we should update the online networking media. I don't think anybody's had a MySpace in quite some time.
Hey now.
Maybe throw TikTok on there.
Take that. Okay. We'll pull
Yeah.
the one.
So it's in existence. We're not saying pull what's already there, but maybe we come back to review.
Yep.
Yep, in the
can
next
do that.
policy committee meeting. Yes.
So maybe we don't need to pull anything out, because it just is living
We're not
as it
voting
has
on a
been.
change right now.
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
Okay.
Do we need to vote on that?
I think we're just saying, since we're not voting on a change with that one, we're keeping it as it is, and next policy committee meeting, we'll review to see
Right.
whoever's on that committee, yeah,
Not it.
Do it, and if we need to change
yeah.
But with
So-
the rest of them, because it's a second reading, do we vote?
Yeah, I think we do. We make a motion.
yes.
Yeah.
We have to.
I'll make a motion to approve the changes to the policies as presented.
Second.
Dr. Strickler?
Yes.
Mr. Bell?
Yes.
Mrs. Jonas?
Yes.
Dr. Simmons?
Yes.
Mr. Bibb?
Yes. Up next, 11.2 Finance Committee, Dr. Simmons.
Yeah, so we had our Finance Committee meeting last month. Some of it Mr. Hook covered in his superintendent update about some of the legislation that we've been tracking. I don't want to get in the weeds too much on these Alana did a nice job in our meeting going through several of these House bills coming down the pipelines, but a lot of them are targeting property tax relief in different ways, capping inside millage, from statewide property tax relief to limit districts' ability to collecting levies. And Mr. Hook also mentioned that on October 30th, myself and Larry and Alana went and spoke at the Hamilton County Commissioners meeting. And on the surface, it sounds like, well, why would you ever speak against property tax relief? Right? And I get it. Like, it sounds like such a good idea. And these ideas we're hearing at the state level of eliminating property tax, like, yeah, let's go for it, right? The problem is, and Mr. Hook alluded to this, and I want to read something that Alana shared with us at the meeting. This is from the Ohio Education Policy Institute, or OEPI, and this was their analysis of residential property taxes in Ohio, a balanced approach to reform. It's a long report, but there's a section in the executive summary that kind of builds on some of the stuff Mr. Hook was talking about. It says, compared to other states, Ohio's well-established culture of local control has resulted in the state delivering a higher proportion of public services at the local level than is typically the case. Within that context, most school and local government budgets in Ohio are financed by a combination of state and local resources. However, this essential partnership has fallen increasingly out of balance over the past 20 years, with Ohio's state tax burden falling while Ohio's local tax burden has increased. At the same time, the composition of who pays local taxes has also been changing, with a series of state tax policy changes over the last 20+ years, shifting the local property tax burden more toward homeowners and farmers and less on business taxpayers. And then it goes on and lists a whole confluence of factors that have resulted in residents paying higher property taxes. And I bring this up because all over the state, but we see it here in Forest Hills. Like, it seems like every year there's a levy for something else. We just had a parks levy. There's safety levies, library levies, school levies. And that always results in our property taxes going up. And it sucks. But the issue isn't the school district mismanaging funds or spending inappropriately. It isn't the park spending inappropriately. When the district comes with a levy, it's an operating levy to maintain our current operating budget or our operating expenses that continually increase every year. And I have an example of that we talked about at the Finance Committee meeting, and that is the increase in medical premiums. So as Ms. Cropper just showed, 80% of our revenue comes from local property taxes and TIF money. And within our operating budget, remind me again, it's something like 85% is people.
85%.
Right? So that's
is
salaries, benefits, okay?
Yeah.
So back in 2024, the district negotiated with the Teachers Association on a new benefits plan and took into account obviously we know health insurance costs are expensive, those are rising, and we had an opportunity in this meeting to chat with Chris Preston of the Forest Hills Teachers Association to get his perspective on kind of teachers' thoughts on these rising expenses. But I want to put some dollars on that. When the new plan was agreed upon in 2024, the single employee share for a single employee's monthly premium was $166.22. Next year, that increases to $222.38, which is a $58 a month, which comes out to $528 a year. Is that right? No, where was that? Hold on. No, that's the district share. So it's $58 a month increase per share that the teachers are paying. On the family share, it's a $151 increase over the last 2 years. But the district shares also increased significantly. So in the last 2 years since that was renegotiated, the district share has increased, where's my thing? For the single employee share, $69. So that's the $528 a year per employee that the district is contributing on the single employee share of the PPO plan. On the family employer share, the annual per family is $1,356 a year increase over the last 2 years. Okay? And how many employees do we have in the district?
We have about 860, but about 650 actually take the insurance.
Okay.
So we've
So
got
650 are taking the insurance, and depending on if they're in single employee share or family employer share, we're paying an increase of either $528 a year per employee or $1,356 a year per employee. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars. And this is an increase that happens based on a percentage-wise every year at different rates. So when the state or county commissioners are talking about, and all these different House bills talking about property tax relief, and it sounds awesome, our money in our district comes from property taxes. And as these expenses continue to increase, and this is just benefits as an example that we're looking at, those become significant, and we need to go back to the community to ask for more money because the state consistently doesn't provide their share. The Ohio Constitution explicitly says that the state is required to provide free public education for all students in the state. But what they've done is shifted that burden, as was in this described in the OPEI report, to local residents more and more over the last 20 years. And so I think one of the things that Alana and I have talked about, and I've talked with Josh about this too, is being more intentional in telling the story in between levy cycles of things like how we're using money for the permanent improvement funds, how the costs of the district ebb and flow due to changes in benefit shares, for example. So the community is regularly aware of changes in operating expenses, and we can clear up some of the inaccuracies out there that, well, the district just keeps coming back to us for more money, and our property taxes just keep going up and up and up. So many of us, like all of us up here, live in Forest Hills, and so many people work in the district live in Forest Hills. Like, we feel the same exact thing. But the way the system is set up at the state level, that's where the problem is coming. And should the state move forward with statewide property tax release or eliminating property taxes altogether, there goes 80% of the money coming into our district. Right? So where is that money going to come from? We're going to have to make, one, massive cuts to our district, but two, it's going to get filled in with consumption taxes and sales taxes and other taxes that we would end up paying anyway to make up for all the money for our schools and parks and safety and libraries and all that type of stuff. So it's a really important thing, as Mr. Hook is talking about going up to Columbus and we're keeping track of all this legislation. It really sounds good on the surface, but there are severe consequences to this, and it's not a matter of just eliminating property tax. The system needs to be reformed at the state level, and we need to make sure we're holding our representatives and state senators accountable for that. Was I accurate in that assessment?
Yes,
Okay.
very good.
Okay. I've said to Alana, explain this to me like I'm in 4th grade, so. No.
So Jason, I guess, just
Yeah.
from my perspective, what I would say to the community is when you hear comments made from our commissioners or otherwise, we're going to reduce your property taxes, the question we need you to ask is, how's that going to impact the schools, the parks,
Yes.
the libraries, the police, the fighters who I would like to show up at my house? Because it's a
Yes.
great soundbite to say reduce property taxes, but a lot of this has become a rob Peter to pay Paul situation, and they're not talking about what's happening behind the curtain in terms of the impact it would have
Yeah.
on us and all of the other entities that, I don't know about you, but I very much appreciate as part of our community
Right.
and rely on as part of our community.
And part of the story there too with the benefits is like, every 3 years we have a new teacher's contract, and teachers' salaries typically are going to be getting increased by a percentage in those contracts. And a lot of that is due to inflation and cost of living increases, step increases based on how long they've lived here. But we can see evidence of that the teachers share the percentage increase for both, if they're on the single PPO or the family PPO, is a 21.06% increase over last year alone.
Yeah, but don't forget, there were years in there.
There were years, yeah.
It went
It's gone
down
from
on the single family, it's gone from $505 a month 4 years ago to $578 this year, 5 years later. I mean, it's like a 3% per year increase.
Right.
So
Yeah, and it went down 15% from 23 to
New
24 when we renegotiated the contract, right. But it's gone up 21% since then.
I'm
Right.
just saying, in the last 5 years, it's gone from $505 to $576.
Sure.
It's not a big increase.
Sure.
It's basically inflation.
So at the same time, over that 5 years from 21 to 26, the share that the school district pays is $495 a month more now than it was in 2021, which equates to almost $6,000 a year per employee. So those are massively increasing costs over the course of a levy cycle that are just associated to benefits, that help explain why we need to continually go back to the community when our operating expenses exceed the money we're bringing in from the last levy. And then the last update beyond the legislation, the OPEI, federal grants. So the question came up about some of the reshuffling happening at the federal level of the Department of Education, and we talked some about some of the federal grants that we bring in. And as of right now, and any information that we've gotten, any existing federal grants that have been awarded to Forest Hills are likely not to be affected by the shuffling efforts that have happened thus far, but we'll definitely keep the community updated should that change in the future. Is there anything else? Okay, cool. So that's it for the Finance Committee.
Up next, Teaching and Learning, Mr. Bell.
All right, you can see the minutes that are out there as well. I mean, really, our focus was threefold. We met on October 15th. Kim led most of the meeting, and we talked about, first of all, we talked about obviously the state report card. Obviously, it was a great report card, as we all know. I'm not going to go through all the details that they've been going over the board quite a bit. The one thing that we did focus on was the only area we did get the 3 stars in. That was the college, career, workforce, and readiness aspect. Everybody in administration is well aware that we don't want 3 stars anywhere. And there's I think we kind of have a two-pronged attack for that one, so to speak. One, certainly it seems to be there's a documentation that needs to happen that we didn't necessarily have before. So there's some crossing of some T's and dotting of some I's. So we have the documentation so we can show every year what's going on, so we can try to improve that way. But that's not all we're certainly doing. The other big aspect that we're doing on is trying to get more kids more involved. As you can see, and Larry certainly illustrated that with his note up there earlier today, the Excel project, they just literally doubled in the last year. So just different ways, and to listen to them talk about how just the expansion in the Excel project between not only getting more kids involved, but getting the community more involved with the kids and having that partnership with the community. You can certainly see that that's going to have a big impact going forward, and obviously we've already seen a nice sizable increase in that. So that was certainly a focus of our meeting, the state report card and then the Excel. And then we talked certainly about the mental health aspect. We're pleased with our new contract from a mental health standpoint. It's one of those, it's kind of a double-edged sword. We're pleased with the new contract. We see an increase in the number of students that are going out and actively seeking through the mental health partnerships that we have, which is great to know that we have those partnerships out there that are seeking that. Obviously, on the other side, you do want to ask the question, like, is the increase simply due to better access that we've had before, or is there the other side where there's something we need to be doing better to be more involved, more engaged, and that's why they're seeking it. So it's great that we have this partnership, and this is, I'm not saying anything that they don't already know, but it's also one of those, like, we need to continually be involved in making sure that we understand why there is that increase and what can we be doing better to make sure that we're engaged. And certainly we talked about the different surveys that have gone out. We did talk about trying to, in some of those surveys, trying to do a 3- and 5-year study so we can see the increases and decrease rather than a 1- or 2-year study. And certainly they're taking that under advisement going forward. So those were the big focuses in that was the mental health, the Excel, and the state report card. Wendy, is that a good, quick
That was a great
summary?
summary, nice one-pager.
That's my job.
Up next is the Technology Facilities Committee report. We met on when did we meet? Last week, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was one day last week. I think it was the 6th, 7th. One of the biggest things we talked about was the preschool enrollment. Sherwood is busting at the seams, I hear. And so the talk is, what do we want to do? What's the district look like going forward? Do we expand onto another building? There is the Beach Acres property, which if we did something like what Oak Hills did, which ties into the pool.
Meeting coming up on December 9th.
There's a whole host of opportunities there. It depends on how that goes. And we discussed what it would cost to renovate the pool at Anderson. You're looking at anywhere between 9 and 12 million at this point, which doesn't seem feasible. It doesn't seem like the right thing to do, if you ask me. 4 years ago, if you would ask me, I would have been all over it, but sometimes reality smacks you in the face and you're like, it doesn't make sense. The next big thing is what we've been talking about all day or all evening is the Nagel turf and the track and the Turpin track. I think those questions have all been answered. And then we looked at the summer projects for the next several years. And you guys all should have got the email. I had John send it over to you just now. Going through what? I thought it was sent out early. I apologize. Everything that we've got coming up for the next several years. And if you go past this year, or I'm sorry, next year from 2026 to 2027, it goes from 5.2 million to 2.3 million in spending. So all of the fixing has been done, so to speak. And now we're just maintaining what we have. I guess that's the easiest way to explain it.
Yep. Think so.
I don't know if there's anything big that I missed.
No, I mean, just starting some of the discussion of the long-term strategic planning of some buildings, right? The pool, obviously, we get emails about it. It's been a huge issue forever. That number is significant, right? And Larry was able to provide several different estimates for options. And I think one that he did present was the cost of removing the pool and demolishing the bleachers to create just an empty space that could be used for something else, classrooms, indoor turf, athletic area. There's possibilities are endless. That cost was around $750,000. That doesn't include the cost to build it up to whatever else it would be.
Just the remediation.
The remediation to have a usable space once again. I know that there's so many people in our community that are passionate about this. I mean, there's been several estimates that have been shared over the last couple of years on it, and they're all in excess of $10 million of what would replace to get that pool operational again. In the meantime, the Turpin pool has been livened up. Fresh paint, we see the new air handler coming in, right? And branding has been included for all three schools, Nagel, Anderson, and Turpin. So when you're in there, it really does feel like a Forest Hills community pool that all three schools that use that are represented, even though it's in Turpin's space. Records for Anderson, Nagel, Turpin, the colors, mascots on the wall, all that stuff. Because obviously high school identity is important to people in our community. So it is something we're aware of. There are numbers we're constantly looking at. I wanted to, you said it, but I wanted to make sure we get a lot of emails on the pool, and we're aware of it, and it is something that we've asked Larry to look into, and he has provided some information on it.
And I'm not on the committee, but just to follow up exactly what you said, and it's one of those, we all get the emails and all that, we are where we are. It does not do any good for anybody to complain about why we are where we are.
Right.
It's not solving any problem. It's a sunk cost. It's in the past. To talk about how we deferred maintenance and we should have done this, we should have done that.
It wasn't done.
It wasn't done. It is what it is. We're there. We are currently right here. We are trying to solve the problem going forward. There's nothing you can do to undo what was done in the past. So if folks could just appreciate, the board is sitting up here, administration is sitting over there, working actively to try to figure out the best solution, both from an effectiveness standpoint and from an efficiency standpoint. It does no good to look at the past. Let's just focus on what we can do going forward to make the best decision for the district.
And we absolutely are. I mean, those are discussions we continue to have. This is not something that's gone by the wayside. It is continuing.
Yeah.
And it's slow, but it is intentional.
And there's some technology stuff we looked at, some Google Classroom things. There's something called Security Classroom where the teacher has a device control over the student. They can see real time what they're doing. You're not paying attention there, little Johnny.
I like that.
And there's another one called Securely Pass, which I think me and Jason had so many questions on it, where if a student needs to go from the classroom to the nurse's station, to the front office.
Oh.
The teacher signs them out, and they have to check in when they get there, and if it's a certain amount of time that it should have taken to get there, and the student doesn't arrive, then a search party is formed.
I like it.
We did get here also about transportation with the TransFinder, Route Finder, whatnot, and obviously the rollout of that had a few more hiccups than we had anticipated. Those have been resolved to our understanding, and it is moving smoothly.
Unless you have two kids in the same building, then they're,
That's something they're
only
still
one
working on,
kid
right?
still show.
Yeah.
Interesting. But can
That
you now
isn't-
track where a bus, if you only have
It's not-
one kid in the building, you can track, so it's
Hold on.
no longer just
No.
there's a bus in front of
They
your
don't
house.
want-
Congratulations.
It's intentional that for safety reasons to not be able to track exactly where the bus is, but you can
Get an alert.
Yeah, when it
widen
comes in
the
within a
essentially
certain-
geofence
Yeah.
to give it a word of you want to know when the bus is at this stop, or when it reaches, I'm widening the area of when I want to know the bus is in this zone, so you can have a farther heads up. I know that was a problem as the
That
bus was
makes
arriving,
sense. I
but
think we misstated that early on. I
Right.
think it was stated that you were going to be able to
Track
to
live-
track
real track
stops.
bus.
and for
but
safety
that's not
reasons,
correct
that
then.
it's intentional
Okay,
that we don't want people doing
That
that.
it would be a safety issue.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
We can track it.
Yeah, the district can, sure.
That's
That was where
different.
there was misunderstanding. Okay.
And we get, there's some laws that have changed as far as bus transportation, allowing us using white vans. So I asked about if we could NASCAR the vans out. We can find out about that and get some revenue in from that.
All right.
But that's about the gist of everything.
Cool.
Up next, be board discussion. Oh, wow, all right. It's almost 9 o'clock.
I know.
Pizza time.
Is the pizza coming?
Almost 9
Next
o'clock.
month.
Goodness. Oh, well, yeah, next month, thank you for the college theme night tonight. Next month, holiday theme. It could be ugly Christmas sweater. It can be whatever your best red and green is, whatever your best blue and white is, I don't care. Pizza may or may not be delivered at 6:45. My final board meeting, I've been threatening to DoorDash, so you may see pizza being delivered next month at 6:45. Just saying, he's walking right in. I'll try to make it not during the middle of the Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh, my gosh.
That's all I have.
I just wanted to share, I did attend the OSBA meeting as well as some of our new elected board members this past Sunday, Monday. Attended some great sessions around ideas for engaging in community forums, town halls, increasing accessibility of the board, as well as communications and thinking about different ways to have some kind of mini sound bites to help get messages out, as we've discussed. In terms of delegate votes, all 4 of the original votes we had looked at did pass. That includes OSBA advocating for local control, universal lunches for students. There was nothing in here, the original ones, that was really of concern. Career tech boards having control over curricula, and advocating for us to continue to control our property taxes that commissioners could not take away. And then there was the final resolution. There were 3 resolutions brought forth, and at the end of the day, those 3 all did go down, and the original racial and equity platform remains as is.
Hey.
So, that's just the update there. Couple shout outs. I'm going to do the secondary buildings. Nagel, we heard a lot about tonight in terms of their focus on hope, and recently they had an impact day, which was all about connection and community. So just as you alluded to, so many great things happening there to support kind of our children through a whole child approach. And then AHS and Turpin, just to hit a little on the art and science coming together. Anderson had their periodic table of pumpkins, so always a fun art project to see, bringing in those science pieces. And then Emily Casagrande has 2 art students, Noah Zellen and Ella Davidson, who currently have ceramic artwork on display at the Mount and are being recognized for that. So before that goes away, I need to get over to the art building and see it. So just really so many great opportunities for our students, and I want to acknowledge that. And then as we go into Thanksgiving holiday, just to say that I am grateful for this community and our families and educators and all of our shared focus on our kids. So thank you to everyone out there for all you do every day.
Agreed.
Yeah, so I just had a few things to say. I want to piggyback on Bob's comments earlier and congratulating Jeff, Aaron, and Jeremy on the election, and looking forward to working with you all and the commitment you made to the community. Also wanted to thank Mark. I know it didn't go the way you had wanted, but really thank you. Hopefully the mic didn't pick that up.
I don't care.
You came in.
I came in last.
No. You came in. You came in April on short notice, got up to speed really quickly in a contentious at times board, and I appreciate your contributions this year. So thank you very much for that. I'm not on the Teaching and Learning Committee, but I had brought these comments up at the Facilities and Technology Committee. I was asking Steve about them, and he kept deferring to the Teaching and Learning Committee. So it's just some things that I wanted to, I guess, make sure were on a radar, or I guess I can follow up and touch base with Kim maybe at another time on our progress with these. The first was related to AI. I know we had an AI committee. Is that still the thing, right?
Oh, yeah, we did.
One of the things that we've been working on at University of Cincinnati in our school with our instructional design is, initially within the last couple of years, there was so much resistance to AI. It's like, oh, we don't want our students to use it. It's absolutely zero tolerance policy to all this stuff. And then when we talk to our advisory boards and industry professionals, and I'm assuring most of you here, but we all actually use it every day to improve efficiency, to generate ideas and whatnot, right? And so the shift at the university level has been to educate students on how to use it as a tool and integrate it into problem solvings in a productive way that doesn't blend into creative thought or learning or substituting critical thinking, but rather than having a no tolerance policy to it, but trying to better understand how it can be leveraged as a tool, because as it's not going away, it's only going to get more accessible, right? So, those part of conversations that we're having.
Yeah, Chuck's on it.
Yeah,
Chuck's on it.
right. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I would do.
that'd be great, yeah.
I think what we're also thinking about is Parent Academy.
I'll give just a quick 100,000-foot view. So we essentially revamped the Innovation and AI Committee this year. Full time. If you would have told me we'd be where we're at right now, I would have said absolutely not. And we have exceeded my expectations tenfold. As Kim mentioned, coming up with guardrails not only for teachers but for students in various age ranges. The biggest thing we have to worry about from an AI perspective is FERPA and protected information,
Yep.
right? So there's 1,000, I get 20 emails a day on AI, right? But there are a couple that meet Senate Bill 29. There are a couple that are really usable. There are a couple that, because they cost money too.
Yep.
There are ones that really work. And then again, you have the educational component. So we actually Josh did a great job helping me. The committee has produced guardrails, like I said, for teachers and for students. Those are coming out very shortly. But more importantly is we have some serious early adopters that are, they're gone.
Yeah.
Train has left the station in a great way. So they're going to be leading a multitude of sessions for our intra-district professional development on March 6th. And so now it's the deployment. So we will, essentially, we used to call them technology champions. There'll be more innovation AI champions to help with a multitude of the projects we have, but to also help lead that charge within AI. It's not whether you're using it or not, it's how to use it.
Yep.
It's like when email first came out, the internet. Like, I'm going to stick with my memos,
Yeah.
which I would still like to go back to on the record. I'm just saying. But that's where we are. That's just a quick.
Yeah, I'd love to get a more in-depth update. I'm really happy to hear that, and I think Steve was telling me too that there's a list of approved AI platforms in the district, which could also, as part of a parent academy, educate parents on what those are, so when they're assisting their children with homework or
Well, I would add, bringing parents up to speed.
Yeah.
It's almost like social media.
Yeah.
Like, don't be afraid of it, but it's not to, for example, it is to add suggest to your original work.
Yep.
Just like you would as a college
Yep.
professor, right? Like, or President Shrubbery, right? That's still my favorite. So those are definitely things we're hitting on, and like I said, the committee has done hands job. Like,
Right.
they have just done
Excellent.
amazing work, and I would be more than happy to share what they've done.
Awesome. And that, those PD days are great, but I think one thing that we benefit from at UC is just a dedicated instructional design team, and to ensure ongoing training and support.
So it will trickle down to the PLCs, so that it is going to be within the forest.
Yes.
It's going to be the leaves of the forest.
Excellent.
Yeah,
What, that's an analogy.
You gotta get that on a shirt.
I blacked out from them.
Thanks, Will Ferrell.
And then the other thing, and again, this is coming from stuff I'm seeing at the university level, so I want to make sure it's something we're addressing here, is Title II of the Americans with Disabilities Act related to digital accessibility and the requirements for websites, mobile apps to all meet accessibility requirements.
On our policy.
Right, so that's something that I'm sure teaching and learning, right, is ensuring that we'll be fully compliant by the 26, 27 deadlines? Yeah,
Our deadline is April 2027.
April 27 for us.
But we have
Ours is earlier.
Yeah, ours is April
Ours are
26.
26, yeah,
Yep.
that's what I'm like, ours is earlier.
Where our community is just under the 50,000
Oh,
population threshold.
so you get the extra year.
So we get an extra year.
Got it.
Okay, cool. But it's on the radar, working on it. Excellent, excellent. I think that is, oh yeah, and then I had a few different, at the primary school shout-outs. We mentioned, I think it was last month at Ayer, Assistant Principal Haluga had promised to shave his head for achieving the walkathon goal, and he actually went through with it, yeah? So he's,
It's already grown back, so.
right? Well, it had happened, right? So then the kids were able to watch and cheer him on, so that was fun. Maddox student council members, before school one day, under the guidance of a couple of the teachers, made sandwiches for Our Daily Bread, made more than 100 sandwiches, which directly help families in need in the community. The Anderson Township Fire Department visited Sherwood to talk with preschoolers about fire safety and see how our fire truck works, different equipment and whatnot, to educate on community safety and leaders in our community that are helping with service. Summit had their Pumpkin Discovery Day. It's an annual tradition in the 4th grade, where students complete different STEM-related projects, integrating pumpkins such as weighing and measuring, graphing and whatnot, which is fun, right? Like helping students engage in a more creative way with the content, that they can have fun with their learning. And I think at Wilson, Fox 19 came out for the annual Halloween parade, and interviewed some students and highlighting some of the celebrations that they had there. So awesome stuff happened in our districts at all levels that I wanted to be sure to highlight.
Thanks.
That's it.
And this week is Coin Wars for anyone in elementary, so find your change,
yes.
please, as to help support 9 United.
I would just like to say happy Thanksgiving to everyone, and I would like to congratulate the 3 of you on your wins. I know we might not agree on everything, but I think we can agree that we want the best for the district and their students. So I wish you guys all the success, and you can reach out to me of a resource if you need to anytime.
That's it?
That's it.
All right.
Take us home,
Nope, one more.
Yeah, we got- we
Item
got-
12.2, budget hearing organizational meeting. We're setting a date with a vote for
January 10th, 8 a.m.
January 10th,
January 10th.
8 a.m.
I did not ask for that.
Not it.
I didn't
wanna
ask
say-
for that either.
I'm gonna be up at 2 a.m. that day, because I'm running a half marathon that morning, so I'd like to make a motion to move that up a little
Oh,
bit, so you guys
stop
can
it.
suffer the pain that I'm gonna suffer that day.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the organizational meeting date of January 10th, 2026 at 8 a.m.
Yeah, second.
Dr. Strickler?
Yes.
Dr. Simmons?
Yes.
Mr. Bell?
No.
Mrs. Jonas?
I had to have one no in my time here, I felt it was a good one.
All right. Our next regular meeting will be on Wednesday, December 17th, here at 6:30 p.m. May I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Mrs. Jonas?
Yes.
Dr. Simmons?
Yes.
Mr. Bell?
Yes.
Dr. Strickler?
Yes.
Mr. Bibb?
Yes. Everybody have a happy Thanksgiving and a safe one.
I want to say no, let's have pizza, but I was told it wasn't the right time. Please.